which the Quraysh used to do. You go to the graves, to the graves, or to someone who died. He said, Ya Abu Bakr, Ya Ali, ask Allah to forgive me. That's shirk. Because why? Ali bin Abi Talib, when he was alive, alayhi salam, how many languages he spoke? One language, spoke Arabic, yeah? If all of us here spoke Arabic and we are speaking to Ali, he will never be able to understand us because we're speaking at the same time. However, now Ali understands Chinese, French, English. He becomes translator. Wallah, it doesn't make any sense. And he can hit everything. The one who hates everything, who? Who hates everything? Who hates everything? Allah. That's why you make it Ali. Allah hates everything. No.
Meanwhile,
that was our point. My point is, Blackstone is going to testify for those who touched it. For Blackstone to testify.
Listen.
Who touched him? Blackstone needs to have a conscience to remember who touched it. This year, approximately 2 million people are going to touch the Blackstone.
Yes.
Blackstone must remember.
You have to remember.
Who are those people?
Wait.
Last year,
Also.
2 million people touched the Blackstone. Blackstone must remember that.
Yes.
And until the day of resurrection,
Right.
billions of people are going to touch the Blackstone.
Yep.
Blackstone must remember who touched them. You are kissing the Blackstone in the intention that Blackstone is going to intercede for you. It is a shirk.
Okay, so the first thing that Shamsi brings is he brings an idea and then he mocks the idea. So the argument that he brings is dead can know all languages. He said, how are you speaking English to someone who didn't know English? Okay, so no problem. Let's say we concede to this argument and then we say we speak Arabic. We speak in the language that the individual knew. So then then this argument that he brought that dead can know all languages has been debunked. So the second argument that he brings is that the dead can hear like Allah everything. Now it's very clear that the dead doesn't hear everything, so therefore this completely destroys his argument. So as I wrote here, Allah's hearing is such that he can only it's not like he can only hear humans. His hearing is such that he can hear all sounds, including animals. Imam Ghazali rahmatullahi explains that as-Sami' hears even that which is subtler than whispers or secrets. Do we say that the dead can hear that? No, we don't say that. So Allah even hears the thoughts that remain trapped in your mind, those which you have not even articulated. So the comparison between a human hearing many people, so the person who passed away hearing many people, and Allah is flawed, since hearing millions of people isn't an attribute of Allah. Attribute of Allah is hearing everything. So therefore shirk isn't committed. So you see how easy it is to debunk the arguments, because all you got to do is go off the definition of what is shirk. If you understand properly what is shirk and how a person is a mushrik, putting something on the same level as Allah or giving an attribute of Allah to a human, then you know that it doesn't fit in the definition. Hearing millions of people, hearing thousands of people, or whatever, it doesn't equate you to God. Essentially, what you could at the most you can say it's a false belief if there's no evidence for this, but it can never be shirk. So hopefully that's clear in this regard. Now the next thing to look at is, if you notice in the two clips, Shamsi and the Christian lady Hatun, they both made a very similar argument. Now the Christian lady, she says from the stone can remember millions of people to testify for, because on Yawm al-Qiyamah the stone will be testifying for many people who have kissed it, right? So therefore that comes in a hadith. So therefore he's saying it's shirk, because how does it know who to testify for? So she has an error there, like there's many possibilities. But let's hypothetically say the stone can remember millions of people to testify for. Does that mean now it has the same knowledge as Allah? Or does it have the same ability as Allah? Of course not. To respond to the Christian, we can simply say that it's not necessary that the stone has knowledge that it has, but in fact it can simply speak. Allah can instruct it to speak, and then it testifies. Not that it remembers anything, or it has like a memory capacity within it. So hopefully that's clear in that regard. But what I was showing was that the Christian and the Salafi arguments are very, very similar in how they try to show that things are shirk. Because the Christians said the same thing, that this is shirk, and because the stone will be testifying for millions of people, how is that going to happen? So for her, it doesn't make sense for the stone to be testifying, and for the Salafi, it doesn't make sense that the dead can hear millions of people. And then for some reason that the Salafi thinks that it's shirk because of that. So in both cases, they're wrong. In both cases, they resemble each other in some way because they don't think that Allah can do certain things or Allah's power extends to a certain degree. So yeah, that's where the error lies in. In this last slide, I highlight similarities between Istighatha and Hajar al-Aswad. Both of these things, they have some sort of uneasiness within a lot of Muslims, and a lot of Muslims sometimes could be confused regarding these two things. Now, the first thing is this: the black stone. The reason why a lot of people will have confusion is because idol worship was prevalent in Arabia, and they used to worship idols. And obviously, when the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he came, he destroyed 360 idols around the Kaaba. So therefore, we know this is not an idol. Now, the second thing is the idol worshippers used to venerate the rocks, right? What's the difference between them and us? When we kiss the black stone or when we touch the black stone, what's the difference between them and us? Now, the difference is that it's primarily in belief. In our belief, we believe that this is not a god. We don't worship it. So therefore, these two things are very clear that it's not an idol. However, if you can notice there, it has similarity. That's why people have some sort of uneasiness regarding it. Now, the second thing is, I will quickly just cover why do we kiss it. The reason why we kiss it is because it's a piece of paradise. So anything that's come from Allah, we will cherish it. So that's one of the reasons. The second reason is that we've seen the Prophet Muhammad kiss it. The third reason is there's certain virtues that's been attached to it. So by kissing it, it's going to testify in Yawm al-Qiyamah. This comes in the hadith. And it also mentions that it's going to have a tongue and eyes, and then it's going to testify. It also mentions that if you touch it, it wipes away sins. I see it has all of these things. From outwardly, it doesn't seem like it has any ability. So when you look at rock, when you go to the Kaaba, it doesn't seem like it has any ability to do anything. However, Allah will give it ability on Yawm al-Qiyamah. And so that's from the unseen, and Allah will allow it to have these kind of effects. So that's in regards to the black stone. So we covered that. Now, in terms of Istighatha, calling or requesting from those who passed away, from outwardly, it doesn't seem like they have an ability. Like the black stone, it doesn't seem like it has an ability. However, we know that in the Barzakh, there's a Barzakh realm, and we've been also told to give salam to them. We've also been told, we've been taught that we can seek intercession. So therefore, this should not be a problem to any Muslim. Just because it resembles in the same way as the black stone, it resembles what the idol worshippers did. For example, like it has some sort of resemblance where they would call out to the idols. So does that mean that the people who are dead, they're idols? Of course not. They're not idols. We don't worship them. Same thing as black stone. We don't have in our belief, we don't believe that these are gods. We don't believe that these are things that we worship. So we don't worship it, nor is it in our belief. So therefore, it shouldn't have any contention. Like it should never reach the level of shirk and kufr as an accusation. So anyhow, so that's covered. The second thing is that outwardly, it doesn't seem like these people can help because they passed away, and it doesn't seem like they have any ability, just like the black stone. However, in this particular, we have narrations to show that they can actually help us. And in fact, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has spoken about this. So let me give you the narration. The narration says, he says, "O Muhammad, I seek your intercession with my Lord for the return of my eyesight." So he was taught this by the Prophet ﷺ to pray this. "O Muhammad, I seek your intercession with my Lord for the return of my eyesight." So then he's speaking to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Now, the narration mentions that the Prophet ﷺ said to him, if there's some other need, do the same. So he's been instructed to do exactly the same if there's any other need. So this is very clear. This is calling upon the Prophet ﷺ to intercede. So we have established narrations on this. So even though other people might differ on them, we have great muhaddithin who have created it as reliable.